By now, you should know everything you have to know about United Nations systems, every single detail, the level, the contracts, all of it. You are at the point where you've just been contacted by the United Nations for a test. Now we're going to talk about how to succeed that test. And even if you fail that test, I'm going to give you some secret to make sure you succeed the next ones. All right, let's begin. First, you have to make sure that you're reachable on the email address that you left when you apply on un.career.org. Because if you didn't, then maybe they called you for a test and you just don't know. You're selected, you're the candidate, but unfortunately, well, you're not reachable and they're not going to wait for you. They have a process and they need to accelerate that process. Use the computer that is best to you, okay? The best computer you have with the operating system that you're good with, okay? If you ever use a Mac, okay, at the last minute, you're going to realize that it's not like PC. The shortcuts are at the same location. There's a bunch of stuff that are not there. Now, it's not a big deal, but if you only have an hour to do a test and you waste 10 minutes, 15 minutes walking around trying to figure out things where they are on the laptop, that's not very smart. Use the computer that you're the most familiar with. Now, more than likely, HR is going to call you, and before the test, they're going to ask you to test your connection, make sure everything is fine. Because if you stop your connection in the middle of the test while you have an hour, that could cost you time on the test because there's more than likely will not be an extension. They will not allow you to just basically say, oh, I had an internet issue. Can I submit 2 hours later? And then you work more time than others on the test. The test is timed. They will give you that amount. So if you have a problem, well, that's your problem. Make sure you will have an uninterrupted time to do the test, okay? If you have only an hour to complete that test and there's a bunch of questions, you need to focus. You need to really get it, done very quickly. It's not time to have your kid around, or maybe if you're doing it from work, having colleagues or calls or something like that, put your phone on Do Not Disturb. You need to focus on this for 1 hour or 2 hours, depending, without interruption. No dog barking, nothing in the background if you can avoid it. Test your computer, okay? Make sure your computer is reset, not shut down and restart. Shut down, restart does not reset your computer. It just basically put it in sleep mode. Restart your computer, close everything you don't need. Make sure that it's as fast as possible, that you're not going to have any pop-up and any issue, that the program will not freeze. Get yourself a pen, a paper. If you have 2 screens, you can put the information you've learned. We're going to talk about that in the next slide. But, you could use most of one computer screen for all the information you need for the test. And on the other screen, you do the test. Or you could use pen and paper. That's good. Make sure you're comfortable. You ate, you've done everything you need to do before the test so that you're ready to just, for 2 hours, full on, no interruption. How to increase your odds. Now, there are secrets here, and I'm going to reveal them to you. You're going to really like those. Trust me. Now, guys, look. This is really, really the core of what you need to do before the test, okay? If the test lasts 2 hours, multiply by 10 the number of hours you'll have to study to succeed that test. And I'm not joking, okay? Some people are spending days before the test to succeed it. You have to learn about the organization. You have to learn about their mission. You have to understand what they're doing. What's the purpose of the organization, the budget, what are their complications, what's happening now with the organization, what happened with the organization in the past, because all these things may be asked in the test. And don't worry, because if you succeed your test, you go to the interview, all that information is going to be relevant. You keep your note, you'll be able to use that also for the interview because it's pretty much the same thing. Now, I want you to study everything related to your job in relation to the job description. So basically, you're going to read the job description, you're going to see what you have to do, and they're going to ask you examples, and they may test you. Maybe there's going to be an essay, a few hundred words to write about how to solve certain situation. You need to know your job in relation to the United Nations. So if they're operating in Africa, for example, and you have experience in Africa, well, that's going to be the time for you to use this as an example and related, of course, to your experience. Now, this is the absolute technique to succeed a test at the United Nations, bar none. Most people don't do it. If you do it, you will succeed your test. I'm not joking. Make sure you keep every single question and answer together for future tests. If ever you failed, okay, the thing is that there's not 50 questions to ask candidates, and most UN organizations, okay, are using the exact same template. There's a big chance that you will have about 5 questions, and 2 or 3 of them will recur with one organization to the next, or they'll have a very similar answer. So imagine you have an hour and there's 5 questions. Okay, so basically you have 12 minutes per question. What if you already know 2 of them because you already had them from a previous exam? You just paste them in there. That's it. You save yourself 24 minutes that you could use for the other 3. This is how you're going to succeed your test at the UN, okay? By marking them down. Keep all your notes, keep everything. That's crucial. What happens if you bust the time? Now, if you bust the time, immediately contact HR. Tell them, look, I had a technical issue. If you can capture the screen and send it to them, do it. If you bust the time by a minute or 2, send your test anyway and apologize for it. But trust me, okay, busting time is pretty bad because, again, they want to give the same amount of time to everybody. If somebody cheat by staying on the test for 30 minutes more and they allow that person, then that person got maybe 50% advantage over everybody else. That's bad. Same thing if you have any technical issue, try to capture the screen, contact HR immediately, tell them what's going on. You might be rescheduled if it's their fault, or you might be extended. They might give you some more time or do the test later down the road. That's possible if it's on their end. But you try to make sure you have the least amount of technical issues, because if you do on your side, they might just disqualify you to take the test. Now, how do you succeed that test? You're doing the test right now. How to make sure you're doing great? Well, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to time manage your test, okay? If you have 5 questions, again, 12 minutes per question. Don't spend 20-25 minutes on the first question because it's difficult, unless there are more points attributed to that question. And sometimes this is something they will say, okay? They might say you have 2 questions that are essay that count for 75% of the overall test. The other 2 or 3 other questions are very fast and easy to answer, or they're multiple answer questions and they count for maybe much less. Spend the time on the question that gives you the most and make sure that you do them as fast as possible within the time and don't exceed. If you exceed, you might bust everything else. At the end, you might not have time to answer the last question. So that's what you want to pace yourself. Super important. Complete the multiple questions, okay, at the end, if you have any, okay, it doesn't matter. And if you're not sure, okay, just basically random answer them at the end if you have only 3 minutes, okay, don't bust the time. It's more important that you just answer them quick and just send them on their way, okay, don't bust the time. And it doesn't matter if you have 1 or 2 randomly, you're lucky, that's good. Could be 2 points more, 3 points more, that's going to bring you over the edge, okay, so this is good. It's not just a matter of passing the test, okay? You're not going to fail if you have 42, okay? It's if you have 42 and everybody else has 20, well, you're still going to succeed, okay? You're still going to go to the interview, and in the end, everything's going to be mapped. Now, if they have very bad candidate, it's possible that they, do the recruitment process all over, but generally, they will pass the people. It's not a passing note like you have to have 60 here. You have to be the best or among the, let's say, the 10 best out of the 50 people that take the test. That's it. Now, we talked about it a little. Now I'm going to deepen a little bit in it. What's the secret to make sure you pass your test in the future? If you succeed this one, perfect, great. Go to the interview. If you succeed the interview, perfect, you get the job. If you succeed the test, but you pass the interview and somehow you don't get recruited, then make sure you keep all your notes, keep all the questions and answers, because then you won't have to study again. You will know them. And for the next job, you'll be able to use those. It might change a little, but not that much. And if you have them, then you can save a lot of time. Another thing you want to do is you want to understand the shortlist system. Okay, we discussed this on video number 4 when I was talking to you about how to apply for a job. You want to make sure that you don't have any I do not qualify for, okay, or I don't meet that criteria, because if you do that, you're not going to be shortlisted for the exam. So make sure you get shortlisted every single time. Read the job description, make sure it matches with you, and then apply. It takes time to apply. You don't want to just apply all over the place without reading the job description. That just shows that you just spam apply, and that's wrong. You're not going to be selected that way. Now, guys, in the next video, we're going to talk about the interview, how to succeed the interview at the United Nations, and then we're going to dig super deep into all the competency-based interview, the car story, and all that. So in the next video, we're going to talk about that. Subscribe to the channel, give me the thumbs up. I see you in the next video.